One of the most common questions that I get asked is, hey Scott, I'm thinking about being in sales long term, what do I need to know? And you know, that is a very important question if you're thinking about making sales happen for a long extended period of time. I'm Scott Sylvan Bell. I'm coming to you live from Sacramento, California, on a perfect day to talk about sales and a perfect day to talk about you. So here's the thing. Let's say that you're in sales right now, you might have been in for a year or two, or you're thinking about getting into sales, you're like, hey Scott, what do I need to know, okay? So I want to let you know, first and foremost, management changes, and there's a reason why I made this video number one. There's a huge reason, because the person who hired you, you may not be around for a long period of time. And there's a couple of reasons why management fluctuates, just like salespeople fluctuate. There is a market for managers. And so the first is the manager is really good, and they're up and coming, and some other company looks around and they're like, hey, that manager looks fantastic, let's bring them on board. So what happens is they get offered a better package, a better deal, so they say, peace out, Girl Scout, I'm done, I'm gonna go to this other company. Okay, that's one reason. The second reason is the manager, or the ownership group is tired of the manager, and they're like, hey, it's time to make a change, we want some fresh blood in here, we want a new perspective. So they get rid of the manager. Might have been a good person, might have been a bad person. And the third one is the manager could be a complete scumbag, could be a liar. And what happens is they finally get caught. And so like I look at like the world of sales, the world of managers, kind of like you may look at like a football team or a baseball team where people get traded. And sometimes you trade up and you get a better manager. Sometimes you trade down and you get a worse manager, and they're usually out pretty fast. So if you're planning on being in sales and you want to be in sales for a while, you're going to have to get used to management. Some of that means that you're going to have to get used to managers' games. And some of it means that you may have to get used to side deals for managers. And so what normally happens is when a manager comes in, they look for somebody and they're looking around, they're like, hey, I could probably get along with that guy, and it's their pet. It's their person, and everything goes to them. They get special preferential treatment, right? And then like there's what can happen too is that manager can look around and go, I really don't care for these people. I'm gonna start recruiting people that I know from my last place, and anything that was promised to you before is gone, right? So they might have made a promise to you saying, hey, you know, here's this bonus, here's things that's happening. New manager comes in, all those things are gone. So you got to be aware. If you're planning on being in sales for a while, you can end up with new management. It could be a good experience, it could be a bad experience, but just know it's common. And like, yeah, I have this friend, and this friend, he's like, hey, Scott, you know, in 6 years, the company that I work for went through 8 sales managers. I was like, oh my goodness, right? That's probably the most that I've heard of for the industry that we're talking about. 8 sales managers in 6 years. I mean, that's like about 10 months is about the time that one of them would last. And I know, because of what we've talked about, me and my friend, that a lot of those came down to the managers made promises they couldn't keep. And so you're going to see this. It's just like it's cyclical. So you're going to see the same thing with salespeople, but it's just a little bit different scale because they're management. Okay, so pay attention. Pay attention to the people that you side with too, because that is important. It can create a lot of problems for you, whether it's a manager or a salesperson. So you got one thing to do from here. Just one thing. Find the subscribe button, click on it, and every time I send out an update, you'll get a video. Every time I send out a video, he'll get an update. I got that backwards. And it'll say Scott Bell Consultants sent out a video. You should check it out, which you should. We'll see you soon. Aloha.